Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new series called Conversations with Exeter Medics. In this series, 8 of my medic friends from Exeter shared their experiences and their journeys into medical school. This series will involve 8 episodes where we will be covering different aspects of medical school and studying at Exeter. Thanks for tuning in, hope you enjoy it, and make sure to subscribe for the upcoming content. What were you doing before medical school?
I took a gap year before med school and I was a receptionist in my old school. So very, very different to medicine. But yeah, I'm glad I took the gap year.
So before medical school, I was doing 3 years of medical sciences, and then I took time off to work during the summer as well. So I was working in healthcare.
I came straight from A-levels.
Okay, so you were in college.
Yes.
And what A-levels did you do?
I did biology, chemistry, geography.
So you sat the Ucat?
Yes.
Did you do BMAT as well?
No.
No.
I did biology, chemistry, maths and Spanish.
Okay. And what grades did you achieve?
4 stars. I did Ucat and BMAT because I applied to Imperial, which was BMAT.
So I did the IB from year 12 to year 13, and in the IB, if anyone is new to the concept of IB, it's essentially the International Baccalaureate, which is an alternative to A-levels, which you can complete in some colleges or schools. And yeah, so with that I did biology, chemistry and geography at a higher level, and then maths, English and French at a standard level. And then alongside that I had a few essays to complete as well. So that's what I was doing before medical school.
Okay.
For my high level subjects I got 777. I did do the Ucat.
Did you do BMAT?
I did do the BMAT as well.
Okay.
So in terms of work experience, like I mentioned, I had a few stints in hospitals. So I was at Kingston Hospital, actually tutored for a little bit, which I really enjoyed. It would only be a weekend job, but it just allowed me to communicate different concepts and different ideas to people, which is an essential part of medicine in itself.
So for IB, I had a predicted 38, and for medical sciences, I got 2-1. I did not sit the Ucat, BMAT, or GAMSAT. I did sit the MCAT. The reason why I didn't sit the Ucat was because Exeter has an offer that if you do med science, you use your grades for med science to get into medical school. Yeah, so I did that, but I also did the MCAT, which is, I think, a 7-hour exam. It's chemistry, biology. I didn't use that for the UK, but I did use that to apply to Thailand.
So before medical school, so I did a degree in modern languages at Exeter, so that was Spanish and Russian, and also did a bit of geography alongside that, so that's my degree. And then, so that was a 3-year degree, and I finished that in 2020. I had previously been working in a pharmacy before I came to uni, so I did that over the 2 years whilst applying for medicine, and I also worked in a GP surgery as a receptionist and a secretary for 2 years. Graduate entry, I had to sit the GAMSAT. So I had done A-levels, I'd done French, Spanish, biology, maths. Those were, I think it was 4 A's. I had a 2-1 in languages, and then I did the GAMSAT, I got a 72.
What grades did you achieve?
I got A star, A, A stars in biology and geography, and then an A in chemistry.
I was doing A-levels. Did biology, chemistry, maths and an EPQ, and I got all A stars.
You sat Ucat/BMAT or both? Both.
So I had a gap year, but before that I did sort of your bog standard GCSEs and A-levels. So I did biology and chemistry like most med students do, or all of them I think really. And then I did psychology, an EPQ and maths to AS level. Got A stars in all of my A-levels and an A in AS maths. At the Ucat only. So originally I was planning to do the Ucat and the BMAT as I wanted to apply to Sussex Med School, which is BMAT uni. But I actually did quite a bit better on my Ucat than I was expecting. So I actually decided to just stick to Ucat unis as I was sort of just wanting an offer from anywhere. The thing that I really regret is when I was doing my Ucat prep, for literally the whole 4 weeks before I sat my Ucat, I did like 5 to 6 hours a day of Ucat prep, and by the 2nd or 3rd week I was so burnt out and so sick of it. And I think it's more about learning the techniques
then spending hours.
1,000,000%. I also really don't endorse like the paid courses that people go on. So I sort of went to a state school. I couldn't really afford some of the courses that some people that you sort of see online going on. And obviously when you sign up to like free subscription services, some companies will get your email and send you emails.
Yeah.
And I remember really vividly, like 2 weeks before my Ucat, I was actually emailed by a company, and they asked if I wanted to do a Ucat course for £1,000 for a 1 week intensive. And it just made me feel so rubbish, because I was sort of thinking to myself, if I'm up against all of these people that can afford to spend hundreds or thousands of pounds on like prepping them for Ucat, how on earth am I gonna like do well enough to get like even an interview, let alone an offer? Don't like listen to that. Don't worry about that. You don't need all of these expensive courses to do well.
Ucat, just practice. It's a ball ache, it's really hard, but you just have to get through it.
Yeah.
Work experience, I just reach out to any GPs local to you. I know some hospitals offer work experience as well, so maybe doing that. I did summer school with Yale, so if you can apply to do that, I think that's great. Yeah, just trying to find anything extracurricular that's like related to medicine, but also do the things you enjoy, because it's nice to be a well-rounded person, not just all medicine.
I was a music teacher. I used to work in a school, and I had my own private business teaching private pupils after school. Yeah, so for medicine I did an access course. A-levels kind of condensed into 1 year. Chemistry, biology and psychology. Biology and chemistry have to get distinctions, so I got those. And psychology have to get merits, but I've got distinctions in that as well. But it works on credits, so it's like an overall.
What kind of work experiences did you do to use in your medical school application?
Working in a healthcare company and the administrative side. I also before that worked in a stem cell clinic. We cultured stem cells from an umbilical cord. I did some work at a private GP in Thailand as well, where I just helped pharmacy side of things on the student council for 6 years, where I kind of helped plan and initiate things for my year level and help out with that aspect. I also led a service group based off feminism.
I did Ucat and BMAT because I applied to Imperial, which was BMAT.
Okay.
But I was a St John's ambulance cadet, so I had like first aid training with them. We would like go out to fairs and football games, rugby matches, stuff like that, and just be like stewards, if you like. And then I did GP work experience, so I sat in with the GP and advanced nurse practitioners for a week.
So work experience wise, so working in a pharmacy for like 6.5 years or something. So that was very good work experience, obviously, because you get like clinical exposure, talking to patients. I got to do, before COVID, I got to do things like checking their blood pressure, like glucose reading, stuff like that. So that's quite fun. And then I worked as a receptionist and a secretary in a GP surgery. So that was good work experience. And then I also did some shadowing with the GPs, paramedics, nurses.
So you sat the Ucat?
Yes.
Did you do BMAT as well?
No. Because of the pandemic, it was quite hard. But I did work experience at a hospice for 2 weeks in my summer holidays between a year 12 and year 13, which was really fun. And then I also volunteered at a hospital at the weekends on a Saturday morning, and I'd go in. I was a youth befriending volunteer, so I'd speak to younger children and young adults just to have a chat with them, really.
I sat the Ucat and the GAMSAT. I worked at Barnstable Hospital. I worked on the stroke clinic, the dementia, not stroke clinic, the stroke ward, dementia ward, and end of life support as well.
I was a brownie leader and a guide leader, so both of them for like an hour and a half a week. An ambulance cadet, which I really enjoyed. We had like weekly meetings where we would talk first aid, and then at the weekends you could go out on duty. So I actually went to Brighton and London marathons as a first aider. Then in terms of work experience, I did a week in a GP practice, lots of online work experiences, and then I also did a summer school in a hospice.
So I volunteered in a COVID vaccine clinic. I did that like a few times over like 2021. And then in the summer of year 12, I did a week in my local hospital, King's College Hospital, and I was in obs and gynae for a week, and that was really cool.
How was your interview at Exeter?
It was really good. It was more kind of person-based than what I imagined, but I liked that they wanted to get to know who I was as opposed to my qualifications and things like that. So
yeah, okay.
It was actually like surprisingly okay. It was my second interview, and I don't know, I think they are very, like, they just sort of wanted to get to know you as a person, which was quite nice, because I was like, I'm not trying to think of like a perfect answer, because they actually just want to know, like, you know,
like calculate the risk of cystic fibrosis.
Exactly. Like, I couldn't imagine anything worse.
Yeah.
But like asking you, oh, what qualities do you have that are going to make you a good doctor? I'd be like, well,
I've got
like,
this.
Exactly. You can big yourself up, and it's quite nice. So it's probably my favourite interview actually.
And it was like, yours was online as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for that?
Just make sure you're prepared, make sure you've got everything.
Okay.
I was a bit scared that like my Wi-Fi was just going to cut out, and I made everyone leave the house. So I was like, I can't have anyone listening. Like,
that's cringe.
Yeah, exactly.
Campus, anything you're interested in, because then you can talk about that.
Placements.
Exactly, and what makes that university unique.
Yeah.
And I would just make sure that, I think there are quite a few good websites out there if you just Google like tips for medical interviews, and just have a look at some of the scenarios and practice questions, because some of them did come up, and it was useful to have like seen that in advance.
My first interview, and like the first interview I'd ever done in my life ever, really. So it was quite scary, but I didn't really need to be scared. Everyone was really nice and really friendly. It was MMI, so just moving around different stations, and it was online, which I quite liked. It took a bit of the stress away.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just asked me questions about why I wanted to come to Exeter, why I wanted to do medicine, some ethical questions really, but it wasn't too bad.
It was good. I feel like I was quite prepared, and it was my 4th interview, so by the time I came around to it, I was like used to the process.
Okay.
But I would just say just practice as much as you can with anyone. There's quite a few resources online, so if you just find like past questions and just practice with anyone.
Oh, I really enjoyed my interview today.
Really?
I was really nervous to start off with, because I remember I was in a little room in my 6th form. I told my English teacher, I was like, sorry, I've got an interview with Exeter. She actually went to Exeter as well, which was like really exciting. So, you know, she just scooted me off into a little like classroom, and I had the camera on, and I wore a red shirt because I was like, I need to stand out. And all those like study tubers are like, wear something that'll make you stand out in an interview. That's a tip. So I wore this bright red shirt, and I met the other interviewees. So I think there were like 6 of us in total, and we just, to be honest with you, it was quite awkward to start off with, because everyone's so nervous and so tense about the situation that, you know, we don't really learn to like say hi to the other person. So when it actually started, I was super, super nervous. However, when the questions were asked, obviously all of your passion and all of that built up kind of energy you've had over the last 2 years, 3 years, or your whole life around medicine kind of just explodes, and you know, you can really articulate yourself, and you can really just let the examiners know why you want to do medicine. And what I really liked about the Exeter interview as well is that a few of the questions weren't specifically like clinically based. It was more around you as a person.
I think I was definitely very nervous for my interview. I really thought like there were a lot of things I could have done better or prepared more for. I think the general MMI question structures that you see online, those are definitely worth studying. But I also kind of realized that you do need to have a really good understanding about the university itself and the course itself.
5 stations, pretty bog standard for an MMI, I feel. I definitely don't really think they threw too many rogue questions. I remember them asking things like, oh, why do you want to come to Exeter? And I guess with that they were looking for like more course specific things. It was okay. It was quite stressful doing it online. I would have much preferred to have done it in person, if I'm honest. Read around the subject of medicine, but also make sure you have a really good answer and sort of idea about why you want to do medicine, as obviously everyone's applying to the same course and you need things that will make you stick out. And sort of with every answer you give examples where you've shown that.